So, for those who might not know me well, I'm Glen Baker.
Oh, hang
I
on one
lead the
sec.
Moore's agent team in Booton and Rockaway.
All right, cool. You guys ready?
We are ready. You guys all ready?
All right.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
All right, terrific. So, everyone, I'm Glenn Baker. I am a team leader out of the New Jersey office. I've got 14 agents plus a couple of admin staff. Um, my history is that I was a CIO for almost 20 years. So I'm a techie at heart. And AI is fairly new. 2022 was roughly when it started to become mainstream. Before that was something called machine learning and decision analytics. And those were two things that my business was in. So I guess you'd say the predecessor to it, and then ultimately AI came along. And I have a presentation to walk through, and I just want to kind of set the expectation as to how this will go over the next 10 sessions. And I think it's important to do that because AI, for some, is intimidating. AI for some is social media posts and listing descriptions, but it is just so much more. And when I say so much more, some of the things I'm going to show you are going to somewhat blow your mind, I think. And if they do, I ask one thing: do not go out and buy the software, right? Because we know as agents, we have 1,000 subscriptions and then we get them and then we don't know what to do with them. And I want you to be productive. I want you to use it and I want you to be successful. So with that, I'm going to show a couple of different slides that I'll get through today, and then we'll go from there. Now, I just want to caveat this that I'm going to be hopping between a couple of different platforms and screens. So I'll try to talk through them and get you going there. And what we're going to do is in the chat, if you have anything that you want to share, if you could just hit the chat window, I'll have it up. And my first question is just to kick this off: what are things you're using AI for today? So if you just want to throw it in the chat, and you can be brief, you don't have to write War and Peace, but that way we know what you're looking at there. All right, I'll give it a second. Listing descriptions, got it. Property descriptions, listings, yep. So that 3-hour ordeal of you going back and hitting backspace and cleaning it up went pretty quickly, comparatively speaking, right? Because that was always the hard part, is getting the listing description out there. I think that, that was probably what I was expecting with social media and listings. What if I said well, here's a reason to join the other 10 calls. So when I go through each of the items, and the reason I told you not to buy anything yet was because I'm going to show you how each one works, and then you decide if it's for you on each of the sessions. Each one will be sequentially built. I'm going to provide you, I use a chat GPT a lot. And when I say a lot, it's to the tune of about 2.5 to 3 hours a day. It is a large portion of my day. And the reason for it is it's productive. It's for the 3 hours I spend, I get 10 hours more. And I'm going to show you how that works. Now, the key to it is that you have to know how to use it. And the GPT portion of it, where you can actually, I'll call it engineering something to occur, it's powerful, but it's only as powerful as you make it, right? So a good example would be when I get home inspection reports and then you get the attorney review letter, I load both of those into my pre-made GPT. The output from it is a summary of the key action items, the timelines it takes for the average repair, and the cost in our area. It literally churns out those items. So how much of a rock star do I look like when I email my client and say, hey, here's the timelines and here's the price for what this would cost in our area. Let's talk about how we're going to deal with it. And I know we're in an era of highest and best and everything weighed, but that is not going to stick around forever. And the amount of work that I used to do going through home inspection reports, and everyone has their client who has a home inspector, right? And some of them have these reports that literally read like War and Peace. They're so big. I don't have that kind of time. I just don't. And what I've done is I've created GPT. So as we go through each of the demos in the 9 sessions, I'm actually going to provide you the link to those GPTs so you can use them. They're literally up and operational. You don't have to figure it out. For the listing description one, I think it's going to somewhat blow your mind, because forget the fact that we're just putting in the listing description. What if I told you my listing description GPT included all fair housing requirements. I'll call it trite words, words that we don't ever want to use. The words like quaint or boasts and things like that are overused. What if I told you it included creation of all the social media content for the initial release based on it? More importantly, I don't write anything for it. I drop the top 10 images from my photo shoot in and it creates it for me. And what's so powerful about that is that it feeds the monster of Zillow and what Zillow wants to see, because Zillow is looking at the pictures the same way that the AI bot does. So when I say that it goes much further, it really does. Now, I'm going to put up a screen share here for a moment. And hopefully everyone can see this. I'm going to go back to the beginning to make sure that you can see it. Now, I'm going to actually show you in the presenter view. Give me 1 second here. Let me share this one out. Stop. There's interview. Okay. Let's put it over here. Give me 1 sec. And I'm going to show you something on my phone before we move to the next slide. So how many times have you been in your car? You get a phone call and it's an unknown number, right? The unknown number comes in, you answer it, you talk to them, have an awesome conversation like, oh, I want to list my house, or oh, I'm a buyer, or oh, so-and-so referred you. And then 5 calls later, when you get to your destination, you completely and totally forget who the person was and you don't have their phone number in your phone, right? Does that happen to anyone else? Just put it yes in the chat if you do, or thumbs up. Because I get a lot of phone calls when I'm driving, right? Or when I'm mobile, or when I'm in the office and running around, right? And all of a sudden you've lost the phone number. Well, this is a little bit of a mind blow here. Give me a second here. I'm going to share it on the screen. So I have an app on my phone. And what it does is when a person calls me, it goes actually to a forwarding number and then back to my cell phone. And when it comes to my cell phone, it has this functionality that it listens to the call. And when it listens to the call, it actually records it and then transcribes it. But even more mind-blowing than that, check this out. Let me just hit the stop share on this piece here. Okay. So I recorded a phone call earlier.
Glen, you have mute.
Oh, I guess it muted me because of the secondary line there. You're okay now. So I created this phone call. I dialed in. And when I dialed in, I left this transcribed message. So this is my voice saying, hey, I want to list the home. I want to set an appointment for 10 a.m. and I want to discuss all the things that matters for a listing. So this is the transcription, the summary of my call. So it creates it, right? And of course, it's going to catch their name if they say the name, just like it did Glenn. But even more powerful here is what happens at the bottom. So at the bottom, this actually took the call, took the 2 times that they said, and it's put on my calendar the tasks from the call and the calendar, and I did nothing other than have this on my app, the phone working this way. Now, why? Because I was losing contacts on my numbers everywhere, and I was losing them everywhere. So what I essentially did was created it so that it would work, right? So now I'm just going to kill this share. And the premise of it really is, how do we use AI effectively to put us belly to belly with clients? And this entire day for the rest of this presentation is going to be about what is the purpose of AI? And then all the tools I'm going to show you, I'm hoping that you apply them effectively, which is super important. Let me just start the presentation here. And I'm going to get my window over here. All right, you should see it in just a moment. For some reason I'm not seeing the share. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Okay. Let me know when you see it with a thumbs up. Cool. All right. So now let's talk about why AI and why it's so darn important, right? So first of all, we're challenged in the industry, right? For those of you that have been here much longer than myself, I think we'd all agree that we're pretty slow to adopt new things because we don't love change, right? I'm not going to talk about books. I'm not going to talk about that pesky Bluetooth device that gets us into homes, all the things that had some resistance because we wanted to not have change, right? But the reality is, and I'm going to explain to you why this change is so important. Like this is the biggest change that's going to happen. And I'm going to explain that. So everyone knows that AI came out in 2022. In 2022, that was prompt based. You entered information, it spat back at you something that was related to it from a culmination of learning, right? But it wasn't really real time because it was a library. It wasn't like it was real time. Then 2023, 2024, it started to move to responsiveness and having more humanistic responses based on gathering information from you and how you behave. And to date, it does that pretty well. So a really good example is I have my AI trained to be my voice, literally my voice, not like how I sound, but how I act. And I'm going to show you in a minute or two how it actually describes me because the system knows me so well and how I speak. I've trained it to do that so that when I ask it to create a post, it doesn't sound like somebody else. Now, I can tell you, I can probably scroll through the feeds and the names on this call and look at your social media, and they probably don't sound like you. Well, the reason why it's so important is the tool is to be used to make more time for you to be you in front of the people that you can sell and make money for, right? Service. So it's here and it's competitive. Now, there is a change in June that's coming, and this is a huge change, and people don't really understand it. And I can tell you the change is going to impact industry, not just us, industry as a whole. And that's called agency. So what that means is that AI is able to act as an agent. You talk, it responds, it interprets and responds, literally back and forth, but in a very logical manner that's continuously learning. That comes this June. And now it won't be implemented in the snap of the fingers, but if you take some of the dynamics happening right now, right? I think pharma, we all know that pharma is about to get a really big day of reckoning in terms of when you cut 15% of the margins out, pharma is going to start knocking people off, right? Well, what happens when AI kicks in and it can do all those servicing jobs? We may see a boom in our industry of listings that come up in those close to those areas, right? AI told me that, but logic and reason tells us things. So what I'm saying is that it is a competitive advantage if you look at it that way. If you look at it like it's just going to do work for you and not be you or not sound like you, people are going to know you're disingenuous. And then when you meet in person, it's going to be a problem. So I'm telling you, be genuine, have it be you, and I'll show you how to do that. So the next thing was 90% of buyers start online, but that actually got updated. Of recent, they show 100% of buyers somehow or another start online. And I'm going to use a practical example of this. So if you're not blogging, we'll talk about that a little bit later because blogging is super important. And it sounds like a 1998 thing to do, but Google loves bloggers. They love it. And you guys have knowledge that you need to use. But here's the catch. If you go into AI and have it write your blog for you, Google knows that it's a fake blog that doesn't have value. And next thing you know, it doesn't help you at all. All you're doing is feeling good that you're posting. You're not making money off of it. Last week, Google leads are the most intentional leads that come from the internet. There's undisputed, right? Other than YouTube, which is super directed, but they're all Google. But Google leads are that. Just from no payments, no money, no anything, just reviews, regular posting, and any kind of social, I'll call it empirical data around us, backlinks and things, posts that we do from our blogs. We had 26 inbound leads, 26 people saying, you're the number one agent in whatever town. Didn't pay a dime for it, right? Very intentional when they say best agent. That's what this is about. That's what AI is about, right? So if you're looking for business, AI is your helper. So need for AI and automation. I read a report, Tom Ferry had a report out, 80% was the number that they put out that people were spending on back office functions. And I always say to agents on my team, if you love paperwork, like if you're the person that loves writing out the contracts and stuff, great, be a part of the admin team. I need salespeople, right? We're in a business of selling. So that piece is about to get basically revamped. Your contracts in the next 1 year, you're going to say the terms and it's going to populate them for you, right? There's no value in that. The value is in how you craft the contract, how you strategize around the offer to win it, right? And these technologies are coming and it's agency again. It's not just ChatGPT, it's called agency and it's in June. So the automation that's coming, the streamlining of back office processes, you're not going to waste any more time on it. Now you should all be like, That's great. Now, if you like to check in the boxes on the form, you're not going to be like that. But if you're someone that wants to make a lot of money in this business without doing more work and service more clients and make more money without doing more work, AI is your best friend. And every app I'm going to show you in the next 9 sessions, it's going to do that for you. So now, adapting for survival, this means that you will need to adapt. You have to upskill. The coolest part about ChatGPT and other AI tools is they're super easy to use. You click a button, you tell it what you want, and it kicks it back out. You just have to know how to ask. The learning how to ask is an easy skill. It's not a technical skill, it's a logical skill. So you need to learn that. Let me blow your mind for a second. So I'm imagining people on the call make cold calls, right? Every once in a while. And when I say cold calls, I'm talking you're reaching out to your database and you want to make some calls to them and find out some kind of information from them, right? Now, let me just show you something here. We have morning calls, and our morning calls, when I do buyer consults or if I do any kind of session with a client, I have it recorded with my AI. Now, everybody has an AI bot. Everybody's got something recording. You go into calls and there's a million call recordings, right? But in fact, this is what it looks like for each of our calls. So these, and you're seeing my screen, right? Okay, so I use a product. Don't go out and buy it yet. Read.ai. What it does is it goes in and grabs every single call. But what's more important is it's connected to everything I do. So it tells me how I'm doing with engagement. Like this call was a broadcast call. I would expect engagement to be poor, right? But if I'm on a call with a buyer consult, my engagement better be high or I'm talking too much. So when I record it, it gives me feedback on how I'm behaving on the call. Now, I'm going to go one step further in a moment that's going to absolutely blow your mind. But this also takes the tasks, puts them automatically on my calendar and in my task list. So when I leave a call, I don't go creating tasks, recording things. They all get automatically put on my calendar and task list so I don't lose them, because I will lose them. This is how AI gives you efficiency, right? You have a call, no note taking necessary, and suddenly you have all your tasks and your calendar entries done. That's powerful AI that helps you buy more time. Now, on the business lead generation side, think about this. Have you ever made a call? Everyone who started out in the business and made a call to somebody, right? I have a buyer, I'm just checking in, wanted to see if you knew anyone in the neighborhood that was looking to sell a home, right? How many times have you practiced on your potential client and learned what not to say and what to say, or got hung up on and then frustrated? And so what if you could have that conversation with an AI bot, a voice conversation like a phone call, practice, get your skills sharp, then make the phone call. But then take it one step further. That phone call is on your dashboard. You're up on Mojo, whatever you're doing. And all of a sudden, in real time, it's telling you how you're doing on the call. It's coaching you in real time. And it's telling you you're talking too much. They expressed a concern, you haven't addressed it. What if the AI in real time tells you how to be a better salesperson without having to be the best on the phone? That's the way that AI is going to influence. And it's here today, by the way. We're in pilot mode on these 2 platforms. It's here today. It's not something that's out there and not going to happen, right? So an example of tools and why they're so important in terms of how we move forward. Let me just hit this share again. Put this up. All right. So now, adapting, let's talk about the landscape. So buyers are starting there. How do you get them? Like, how do you, because we're competing just like we would for a listing for buyers nowadays, right? Everybody coming in open houses has an agent. Everybody who starts their search starts online. How are they finding you? Well, the way you use AI will define how they find you. You could put out so much more content, and I'm not just saying content for the sake of content. In your voice content, how you do the content is what matters. And I'm going to show you how the voice works before we get off the call so that you can tinker with that before our next call. But you have to capture their attention. The ways you do it: social proof, reviews. Who buys anything on Amazon that has 3 stars? It's craziness, right? I wouldn't buy it, so no one's going to buy you. The other thing is, first impressions matter. And this is why I say, if you're just posting an image of yourself like that in an AI bot, it means nothing. They've seen 1,000 of them in that day. Everybody's doing it. Who had the, what was it called? The Barbie doll box. Like how many of those, for some reason, realtors latched onto the Barbie doll box? Let me ask a question. What value other than vanity did that provide to your potential client or future client? We have to think like this. We're guiding them on some of the largest purchases. I could tell you if my financial planner had one of those Barbie boxes, he wouldn't be my financial planner today, right? Let's be realistic. Like there's pieces of it that's fun to have, and the dancing realtor, what we saw on TikTok, all that stuff's cool. But when people are talking about real fiduciary duty, there's big dollars they're talking about, right? And I'm not saying don't do it and don't be a personality and don't do those things. What I am saying is your first impression digitally matters. So don't go putting up ChatGPT generated content if it's not in your voice. And you notice I'm not saying don't put up ChatGPT content. I'm saying if it's not in your voice. That's the most important piece. And I'll explain what your voice is before we get off the call, I promise. Okay. Now, the next thing is importance of visibility. You need to be out there. I am telling you, if we know 100% of buyers start online, that means that the 90-year-old person buying a house or downsizing has their iPad like Steve Jobs imagined with their single finger and they're scrolling through looking for an agent. How are they going to find you? Now, I know so many of us are in referral, right? But I also know so many of us don't follow up as effectively as we should. So many of us haven't anticipated that our buyers' kids don't behave the same way our buyers do. The loyalty is different. The way that they refer is different. They're finding us online. If you're not online using these tools, specifically AI tools to manage your SEO, manage your visibility, manage the way you post, you are going to get those what you thought was locked up as your client stolen away by people that have the time because they're able to belly and spend the relationship time because they're not burdened by all the other admin work. Super important. New handshake dynamics. So I am not kidding when I say a client relationship is built differently. I have people call. I'll give you one practical example, right? So I'm pretty active on social media, and I do a lot of personal and some business. Notice I say personal and some business. When I do that, I've had people walking down Main Street in my town, and they give me a hug, and I'm like, that was weird. I have no idea who that person was. But in fact, they had a relationship with me. It's not the conventional relationship. It's a social media relationship. It's different. And I can't say it's weird because I put my stuff out there, right? But when I meet that person, they go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then 2 weeks later, I get a phone call and they want someone from their family to list with me. I'm not so sorry about the weirdness of that relationship, right? Because it's a handshake that goes out and the handshake dynamic has changed. I can tell you, I have a lot of clients that have agents, right? Or I should say, had agents, right? They bought a house 2 years ago with an agent, not too far from distant memory, right? And now they're listing that house with me because I've reached them in a way that those agents didn't, right? And that's the key. So now, let me just talk about your value and then I'll show you a couple of tips and tricks and then we'll get to questions. So you have to shift from busy work. I can tell you right now, the top 10% of agents are not doing busy work. They're doing belly to belly work. AI is enabling it. That means the very thing that you're so special for, you got to do more of. You have to be with the clients. Now, the question is, how do you get them to come to you? AI, right? All the tools for the next 9 sessions will show you how you do that. Some of them will be some back end work to take the load off you, but a big part of it will be that. This is the piece that everyone misses with AI. It was simple. It was easy. I could type in, make a social media post about how buyers behave today. I saw one today. Perfect example, a lender. He does great content, sincere from the heart, awesome content. Today he posted and I took it and I put it into my AI checker and I was like, that does not sound like him at all. I posted in AI. Sure enough, it's 100% score on an AI. So he didn't create it. The one post that was outside of his personality, I identified immediately, right? Because it was so out of character. It tells you how powerful these tools are. So everyone's got their plus and minus, right? I'm not for some, I am for some. Emphasize the human interaction piece and take it to that next level using AI, right? That's the key. And then how do you enhance client relationships? Everything I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you Bold Trail. I'm going to show you ChatGPT. I'm going to show you every platform, Google, anything on Facebook. All of them have AI integrated into them, every single one of them. So every one of them has an ability to help us do things more effectively. And it's really cool. Now, the back end task burden, from everything from AI staging to writing your listings, all that stuff is totally possible. But I think that the key is you have to look at everything I'm going to show you as a way to reclaim your time. It's not meant to do anything other than that. And the reason I say that is this. AI's role is two critical functions: get rid of routine tasks and enhance the agent's capabilities. And what I mean by that is it's meant to be an amplifier of you, not a replacement of you. This is the mistake everyone makes. The replacement of you is you just type in what you want as a post. It doesn't sound like you and you put it up. Amplifying you is taking how you are and putting it on steroids. And that's what's going to make you more valuable, right? And it's so cool. I'm going to show you some things in a moment. Lots of tools out here. I'm going to show you tools. All I ask is that you wait for each session and then decide if you're actually going to use it. I hate to see people spending money on monthly recurring things. And I'm a big believer that if you buy a tool, put it on your calendar. 30 minutes for this day for this tool, 30 minutes a day for this tool, whatever you're going to use. The AI coming in June is going to change the dynamic. So let me give you an example. Has anyone ever put up a low dollar rental and been completely overrun with phone calls? You can't even answer the listing phone call because you got 100 calls that you can't possibly field as a human being? I think everyone will probably say yes, hopefully. Well, when that happens, what I do is I go in and I have an AI answering system. So the call goes to the system. It says, hey, it's Glen Baker. Just checking to see, are you looking at a listing or are you looking for a rental? I'm looking for a rental. Great. What's the address? So they get the address. The system texts them back the requirements for the rental immediately. And then it says, is there any questions on that or do you want to call back? Right? Because I can't prioritize everybody if I'm a really busy listing agent, right? So this way they get serviced as quickly as possible. It sounds like you're talking to somebody, very much so, but you're automating using AI. It takes the burden off for sure. I'm not giving any real estate advice. I'm sending them a pre-made text that I send to every single user, and all of a sudden you have all this information in your hands. It's super cool. All right, so now, missteps, using it as a crutch. AI did this. Let me tell you one thing. If you create a home inspection consolidated report with AI and you have not actually reviewed it and you just sent it off, you are the one responsible. I think all of the brokers on the call will say, whatever you send, you're responsible for. AI is not an abdication of duty. It's not meant to be any of that. The tools are effective if used properly. 5 action steps. Look at your audit your tasks. What do you do 3 times in a day? If you do it 3 times a day, adios amigo. We have to AI that. Invest in AI tools and note my statement and actually use them, right? I want you to actually use them. Use AI for marketing. Master prompt engineering. I'm going to give you a bunch of prompts and then you're going to think of 1,000 others you can create. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then you have to lead with value. There is no reason to put any content out unless you have value. A value is not, I just sold a house. What is the value of that? Maybe the story of how you sold the house sounds pretty damn good, right? Like if you tell me a story about like, I just closed a house in 7 days, that is nothing short of a Herculean effort, right? I didn't even have the radon. I realized a day before I was closing that I didn't even have the radon puck picked up yet because it moved so fast, right? That's learning. And that's, oh my God, I have to hold an escrow. Oh my, so, but that's value. You tell the story of that, how you can close that fast. That person who's concerned about how do I get into a home and it's so hard changes the dynamic totally. So I'm going to step back for 1 sec. I want to show you 2 quick things that you're going to love. Market research. I want to leave you on every call with something that you can use. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. So what I'm suggesting, let me see if I can get this one here, screen. I'm going to go here. All right, I'm going to show my Chrome and let me just see if I can back out of this. Yep. Okay. And I'm going to go over here. So in our area, make sure you're seeing this. Are you seeing my ChatGPT window? A lot of text? Okay. So I'm in our area, there's an agent that's been around a long time, very successful agent named Jackie Skira. And what I wanted to show you was, if you are looking to market against somebody, if you're an up and comer or you're an incumbent and you want to know who's coming for you, you want to know who's trying to take your market share, you're trying to capitalize on a particular market, you can type in my prompt, which I put up here, right? Tell me how Jackie Skura, realtor, markets her services and gains clients. And then it said, can you tell me the city? And I said, operating in North Jersey. And then it came up and I hit the words deep basically in-depth search. So I want to see the details, right? It went out and scoured the internet live, real time, and came back. And it said, I'll tell you the thing. She has a lot of reviews, right? Which is always the case. She's pretty active on social media, not over the top active, but active. She has strong personal branding. She has a scholarship fund. I didn't realize she had a scholarship fund in the high school locally. I went to that school. I didn't know it. It tells me everything about her life. Now, if I said summarize the top 4 ways that she markets in bullet points, it'll tell me that. Now I have something effective to go out and market against. If for instance, if she was not putting in videos in her listing, I'm going to go after that. If she is not doing social media marketing and paid ads, I'm going to go after that. You can use ChatGPT to research anyone, and you can do the in-depth search. And when you say in-depth search, it takes a while, takes a little bit of resources, but it will come up with a complete competitive advantage. Now, if I said, tell me how to market and win her clients, it will tell me that, and it's pretty darn accurate. Okay, so that's the first one. The next one, let me just show you a voice. So when I click this voice, I'm going to hope the voice works through it. If it doesn't, just give me a thumbs up if you hear the voice. What is my voice? Let me see.
Your voice is strong, direct,
You hear it?
confident, and bold. You speak with a clear, impactful tone that commands attention. You often use humor or a bit of sarcasm to keep things engaging, and you emphasize real results and accountability in your messages. Overall, your style is no nonsense with a touch of wit that sets you apart.
So that's what ChatGPT applies to every single one of my outbound posts. Anything I create, email, social media, it knows how I behave because I've trained it how I behave. And anyone that knows me knows that's an exact situation of how I behave. That's how you train. And we're going to show you how to train ChatGPT in the sessions, but that's how you train ChatGPT. So,
Hey Glenn,
yep.
hey Glenn, I just used Copilot. Have you ever played with that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm just going to share with you my result.
I'll
I don't know
stop
if you
sharing.
guys can see. Who is the best agent to list my Boonton, New Jersey home with? Here are some top performing agents in Boonton based on recent sales and reviews. Glenn Baker, Jane Conway, Michelle Pais, Scott Schulin, Michelle Klug. Now, is there a way that you see that we can kind of hijack the algorithm to maybe, be identified, not if we're a bad agent, but to hijack the algorithm to get into this space?
100% content, right? So reviews, Google juice, I call it Google juice. Anything that feeds the Google monster to get to you. I have people call me. I had one person call me one time and said, "Hey, you're the best agent in Dover, New Jersey." And I was like, "I've sold 3 homes in Dover in 5 years. Like, how am I the best agent?" It was how the reviews were crafted. I use AIs for my reviews. I know a lot of people go out and they'll say, and reviews is it, Rob. Like, if you're going to get it, reviews is the number one thing that's going to do it. But I know a bunch of people that go, "Hey, would you mind putting a review up for me on Google?" I can tell you, please don't ever do that. You have to say to your client, "Hey, I'd like you to," and I have an email template for this. "I'd like you to do a review. Here's the link. I have drafted up your review for you if you want to cut and paste it." And the review has 3 components that are absolutely critical. My name exactly as it appears everywhere. Cannot change. It's not Glenn P. Baker, it's Glenn Baker everywhere. If you put a middle initial sometimes and not another, you are killing yourself in the algorithm. It has no way to correlate you. Has to be exactly the same every time. The second is what town I did the work in. And the third is what I did for you. All the niceties, right? I actually draft it with ChatGPT in my voice and I paste it into the email that I send to clients. 99% of my clients all copy and paste my review for me. It sounds disingenuous, but I promise you, if you leave it in your client's hands, they will not give you the review you want. And if they're pasting it, it's clearly their sentiment because it's their voice. All you're doing is summarize. Now, don't be disingenuous, be genuine, but reviews are so important. And the moment you start to cross the 100 mark, it's off the charts, not on Zillow, but in Google. Okay, so maybe I'll answer some questions. Let me just see. App, if you take an AI script verbiage, put it into the app. Yes, I will share that, Scott. In one of our trainings we're going to do. There's a lot of apps that do AI checking. So that's the case. My Facebook handle is Glen Baker or at Morris Agent.
I
The
shared it. I shared your.
okay. You're going to need the paid version, and I'm gonna show you why you need the paid version. Best $20 you've ever spent. It's like hiring an admin, but don't do it yet. Do it when I train you on the session, because you'll be much better off with it. You can't
But
do some of the uploads.
Glenn, do you see it being a one horse race, or do you think there's going to be a balancing competition for these AI engines?
I believe that this is the new search engine of the future. So where Google has come up with Gemini, Gemini is pretty slick and it's integrated. ChatGPT also is there. These large language models will become your search engine. You're going to go there first, then hit websites. So it's the new battleground for sure.
So you have Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, any other majors?
Rob, the list goes on and on. Everyone I meet tells me of someone they use, and my attitude is pick one that you like that really works well. They're all large language models. They're all genuinely going to learn from what you're doing, and quite frankly, they all come out looking the same when you come out of the wind tunnel. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, there's one more question. I'll read it out to you. It says, can you virtually stage a vacant home with AI?
Absolutely. And I'm going to show that. And let me just see which session that one was on. You know what? I'll make sure that it's in the next session and I'll give you the tool. You will hear a lot of people talk about Midjourney as one of the apps that's out there. I don't love it. I think it's way harder than it needs to be, and the output isn't so great. So I'm going to show you a dedicated real estate one that does AI, and it's cost effective enough where if you're doing a couple listings a month, you can do a virtual stage. It's mint. It looks great. We use them all the time.
And then someone also asked, what is the name of the app that records incoming calls?
It's called productive.ai. And I'll give you the one catch. I talk fast, as you can tell. If you are a fast talker, you are going to learn how to do it differently, because the act of having the number forward to your cell phone adds a slight bit of delay, just the slightest bit. And in order to have the recording capability, you need to slow down and talk slower. And it's very hard for me. I talk over the people all the time because there's a little imparity. That's the only catch with the app. Otherwise, I can tell you, if you're on the road and mobile a lot and you're losing people, or you can't remember the phone number, or or even worse, you're doing it while you're driving, you don't have to do that. Yeah, this app does it for you.
Hey, Glenn, I have a question. When you did the search on Jackie Scura, how long does that take?
It was about 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yep. And I'm on the paid version. So if you are not on the paid version, you don't get priority. And I don't know if you guys know, like the whole reason why our Arizona folks know this, they're building power plants in Arizona because there's no natural disasters. All those power plants are to power AI. AI is driving manufacturing and AI, right? 3 Mile Island is being turned live because of AI only. They're turning 3 Mile Island live again because of it. So the power that it takes is great. If you don't pay for it, they don't necessarily give you the share of that to get it done quickly. So by paying the $20 a month, you're able to do a certain amount of inquiries without getting stopped. And that's why it's so important to pay. On top of the fact that everyone here has had probably 5 to 10 listings, right? If you took your listing descriptions off of the MLS and put them in a Word document, and you upload it to ChatGPT and say, this is how I write listing descriptions, learn it and make it my voice, it's going to learn from your past documents. You don't have to have this massive effort to teach it. It'll learn from what you've done. So that basis is in the $20 version that's not available to others. It is so powerful, but you got to look at it like it's a time buyback to put you in front of clients more. This isn't about putting something between us and our clients. That's where everyone's getting it wrong. You need to have something that lets you do more of that opposed to less. That's the key.
So Glenn, this is going to be a 10-week session every Tuesday at 10 a.m. What should we be doing for next session? Should they download any apps that you mentioned today just to get familiar, or just sit tight till next week? What is your recommendation that we
sit tight for next week? And when I'm in each app, I'm going to actually show you things. And most of them, I'm able to give you configurations or GPTs and things like that. So you won't have to do a learning curve on some of them. You'll hit the ground running after the calls. That's my intent. And everyone goes, well, why would you do this, right? One is I'm seeing a proliferation of really bad AI amongst agents, right? And I don't want us to be that. We can't be generic. We can't be out there just posting for the sake of posting. Engagement is what matters. If people aren't engaging with your post, you're posting for nothing. You're posting for vanity, and that's not going to make you money, right? And that's what I want to see folks do. It'll take the level of professionalism higher. All I would say is it's a simple, everything we do here. When we hit the submit button on ChatGPT, when we hit the post button on Facebook, if it doesn't provide value, don't hit the button, right? That's my answer, because we're moving into an economy where I can tell you, if you're not, I'm coming for your clients. Like, I am 100% going to come with massive value, and you have the ability to do the same exact thing, whether you're an individual agent or on a team. These tools are so powerful, and I'm telling you, like, I know a couple people saw these apps and they're like, holy cow, that's so next level. We're not even started, right? The next 9 sessions have serious apps in them.
And just remember, guys, if you missed one, they're always going to be recorded. They will be on our hub, which is goremaxselect.com. And under masterminds, they will every Tuesday, they will be uploaded towards the afternoon.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just close out by saying we're going to be focused on each individual app or function from this point forward. I wanted to give you the basis, and most importantly, just so that you're not, and I have a list here that I left in my bag. You're not just taking this and going to do some generic post, right? I want you to have some value. So the next one, the next session, I'm assuming that folks are operating in one CRM here, and the next session will be all about Bold Trail and how you use AI within it or with it, right? And how it can effectively help. We are going to use some ChatGPT in that session because sometimes your campaigns need to come from ChatGPT because Bold Trail can't do that piece. But it's going to be super focused just on that CRM. I can tinker around. I use Lofty, but I'm super familiar with Bold Trail. So that's why I'm going to use Bold Trail, because I figure that's what the population's using. I can show you some things. Like, I come into my CRM in the morning, I hit my AI button and say, who do I need to call today? It tells me who I need to call for the day. No call lists. All I need to do is have my calendar slot for an hour, make my calls, right? That's what I need to hold a schedule and accountability. And it doesn't need to be anything special. It just needs you doing the work, right? So we'll do that on the next one. And then the following one will be all ChatGPT for marketing, 100% marketing, get clients.
And I just want to say each week we will send out the agenda just so that you guys are prepared and you know what to expect in that session. So every week we'll send that out.
Yeah, next week's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all of you joining. And Glenn, thank you again. We really appreciate you. And this was great. And if you guys want to add Glenn on Facebook, I did share his username on the chat. Make sure you copy it before we end today's session.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.